I'm Jammer, and with the recent rumblings about a Nintendo Direct coming around the bend, coming up pretty soon, now they finally announced it for the day of
September 13th.
That one. So anyways, as always, I'm here today to give you my predictions
directly
to you. Actually, just a week back, I did talk about the potential of a Nintendo Direct coming up pretty soon. I was in like a video where I was talking about Fire Emblem Warriors and Mario Odyssey releasing as close as they are together. We've gotten plenty of information through Gamescom and stuff, but really we've had no formal Nintendo Direct since E3, an exception to the Nindies at Night presentation, which is kind of a pseudo-direct, but at the same time it's not like formal Nintendo titles, first-party stuff. So it's about time. We're well overdue for something like this, and it's definitely, it feels like it's right, especially with these rumors that it's coming up pretty soon, and I'm definitely not recording this ahead of time just because of time's sake. But anyways, I want to talk about what I could expect from this Direct coming up. Now, personally, I feel like it's going to be really just covering the next few months of games, being September and October. I don't really know if it's going to go any farther. I don't have really expectations for them to announce a brand new game for like Animal Crossing or Super Smash Brothers or anything crazy like that. I usually don't go too high in the sky with my predictions anyways, but it makes a lot more sense for them to talk about what's coming up right away. Because besides what we've seen at E3, and then I guess it's a reveal trailer, that's all we've seen of Mario Odyssey. We only know about the 4 kingdoms, only seen gameplay of 3. 4? No, we've seen gameplay of 4, my bad. So there's still a lot more they can talk about with that game, especially we saw with the Peach eyes just the other day, with the little Peach Cappy eyes. So there's a lot more they can still go into and talk about with this game. Especially considering it is, give or take, a month or change out. I guess 2 months. 2 months-ish. I think it's going to get that one final trailer to kind of capstone it off and get it ready for launch. Kind of like what Zelda Breath of the Wild did with its final trailer in February before it released. Or February? Maybe it was end of January. I don't know. It was whatever. I think it was a January Direct where they, they talked about the Switch and all that stuff. So I believe that, yeah, that was the final trailer to send Breath of the Wild off into getting released. I think this will be the same scenario for Super Mario Odyssey, where it'll give us one final look, one big trailer to really show us something we didn't even expect, even beyond the Cappy feature. I mean, I think the Cappy feature is going to be the highest point of the hype cycle of the trailers and stuff like that, because that was E3 news, that blew everybody's mind, There's no way they could have another reveal like that we just didn't even know about, So I don't expect anything of the level of announcement of a Cappy, but potentially, I don't know, we're going to see some new worlds, some new music potentially, maybe a boss battle or something like that. Just some kind of, final trailer to get it all conclusive and ready for the launch, and then a reminder, coming out October 28th or 9th or something like that. The Friday before Halloween, you know what I'm talking about. Before we get too far release dates out as far as games, there's actually a lot of stuff up and coming that they need to touch on. Like for example, well they got Metroid coming this Friday, but more than likely they might not touch on that. Or if they do, it'll just be like, hey, reminder, it's about to come out type deal. Then the following week is Pokken Tournament DX, so then there's that they have to cover and talk about that. I mean, I know they want to get new audience and new people into that game. I mean, it looks like it had a pretty big E3 presence for being a port anyways, Trying to get that competitive scene going, so I'm sure there's going to be something along the lines of that. Just maybe talk about the future of that game. Then the following after that is the Super Nintendo Mini. So I bet you they'll definitely have a segment talking about that, at least what we can expect. I mean, there's been plenty of preview coverage about it from other various news outlets. But I mean, again, it's something that's coming up pretty soon. Of course, they want people to get it. Maybe even talk about the stock issues and be like, don't worry, we plan on restocking this thing a ton all the way until and through Christmas. So you should have plenty of opportunities to get one for yourself, hopefully, anyways. And then again, the following week after that is Mario and Luigi's Bowser Minions. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. Basically, the Superstar remake on 3DS for the Mario and Luigi game. I'm excited for it. Actually, I did love that game when I played it on the Game Boy all those years ago. And again, besides what we saw on Treehouse footage, I believe this was only on the Treehouse. We haven't really heard or seen anything since. And of course, they're going to want to continue that 3DS support and continue people buying games there. So that's something they're getting good. I think they're going to touch on the 3DS side. And I believe there might be a break, or I might be wrong, but the following week it's Fire Emblem Warriors. And we've seen, again, they've been doing actually pretty good announcement of character announcements and stuff like that, showing off some new characters from Fates. There's been some gameplay through Gamescom and stuff like that. I think, honestly, what we could expect at this Direct, anyways, is potentially, I don't know, new character, maybe, or something like that. Or maybe they could even talk about DLC. I mean, it kind of is not the best thing in the world when, they announce DLC before a game comes out. But Nintendo, at least they've been doing it a little bit recently, like they did with Breath of the Wild. I know Mario & Rabbids isn't technically Nintendo, but they announced a season pass prior to the release of that game as well. So it's not unprecedented. It could happen. It's not the most ideal scenario where if they announce, DLC before a game comes out, I don't know, it's kind of weird when they do that, but it could be something they could do and talk about, or just mention that there'll be some future updates later down the road, where they do go into older series or older games in the series, Because I know that's what a lot of people are craving about Fire Emblem Warriors. They're really on board with it, but they're really disappointed for the fact that it's really only focusing on what? Not even Echoes, sorry, my bad. Fates, Awakening, and I guess Shadow Dragon, but not really, because it's really just Marth. I mean, maybe Tiki's a playable character, can't remember specifically, but Tiki's in Awakening anyway, so they could just use that version. And I think they only did the Shadow Dragon just so they could have Marth, because Marth's Marth, He's gotta be in this game. I'm in a mixed emotion with this game, because when I did play it, I did enjoy it. I had a lot of fun with Hyrule Warriors previously, but there wasn't, I don't know, I only had limited playtime with it when I did play it at E3, and it kind of felt, I don't know, the combos didn't feel as unique as they did in Fire Emblem, or here, oh gosh. The combos did not feel as unique as they did feel in Hyrule Warriors, at least to me anyways, because I thought the characters were a lot more crazy and weird, like the Tingle fighting with his balloons, Agatha fighting with a picnic basket, and just other stuff like that. Each character really felt unique there. And when I was at E3, I played as, I believe, female Corrin, I played as no, I don't play as Martha, I played as Chrom, and I played with one other person, I can't even remember now. Anyways, they all felt, I don't know, they all kind of mixed together, and I couldn't really, ask me now what their combos were, it's really hard for me to differentiate between them. Because, I mean, it's part of the reason, because they are all swordsmen, and again, I know that they are different. Corrin definitely felt the most different than the rest, because she had her dragon transformations and stuff. But other than that, from what I can remember, just offhand, it was very different. It didn't feel like playing each character was as different as it was in Hyrule Warriors. And hopefully that's something that can be resolved in the full game. I know there's going to be Pegasus Knights and Wyvern Riders and stuff like that. So there's definitely going to be a variety-ish, magic users, whatever, staves, all that fun stuff. So there's going to be a variety, don't get me wrong. But from what I've played so far, it didn't feel like the characters were that different from each other, and that was what really made Hyrule Warriors, in my opinion, unique. I'm still excited. I'm looking forward to this game. But I think that's one thing, that's my concern with the game, besides the fact of, wishing for later game characters to be into the game as well. Which I think, honestly, that's kind of a given. I really think DLC is going to be a thing eventually. Whether they announce it at this direct or not, I think it's going to eventually be something that they'll talk about. But yeah, I think we had just rapid fire through all the games that that are, on the calendar anyways, in exception to, I guess, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. If anything we'll get from that, potentially maybe a new trailer. I know there was a new demo at Gamescom, I know there was a new demo at PAX West, I believe, PAX West. So there's new stuff to show off anyways, the point I'm trying to make. So if anything, I could see us getting a trailer, potentially, and then I think it's time to give us a release date. Considering if it's gonna come out if it's still coming out this year, like they're holding to it, it's gonna be probably December. That's the one that makes the most sense, to me anyways. I would kind of banked on the first or second week of December, but I mean, from the looks of it, since we haven't heard anything, it could be the very last day of December. Who entirely knows? If they can stick to it and keep it as a 2017 release, I'll be really impressed. I don't think they actually really need to make it a 2017 release. To me anyways, December isn't a necessity for game releases in my opinion, because you really get the bulk of your games in the November, holiday shopping release. You get it as a present in December usually, and that's when you're going to be playing it, during the, again, the holidays. Of course, there's still plenty of reasons to release it then, because then, late shopping for Christmas, whatever. It's still plenty fine to release it then, but I don't feel the necessity to play it, or to get a game then, usually anyways, just because I already have other stuff I'm playing still previously from November. Speaking of November, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon from Pokemon. I mean, rewind to last year and the hype cycle going up to Sun and Moon. We were getting, at this point, a year ago today, we were getting nearly weekly or not bi-weekly, every other week or weekly trailers and new Pokemon announcements or whatever. And that is kind of weird that we're not getting the similar treatment here in Ultra Sun and Moon. Granted, it is an iteration on the previous game, so I don't really, of course, expect a ton of new Pokemon in comparison to introducing a brand new gen. but it's getting pretty close to release. I mean, November is only right around the corner. We'll be there before we know it. And what we know of this game is so little. We've seen the one trailer with the Pokemon Worlds, and then besides that, we saw the announcement trailer, I believe. And then we know Komomo has a Z move and stuff like that. So there's still, hopefully, still a lot more they can talk about it. I know it's gonna sell well. It's Pokemon, right? But if they want to market it for people to actually want to buy it. Because right now, I don't know if I have much of an interest to get it right now. I was all on board with Sun and Moon. They sold me with that hype cycle. I was looking forward to the trailer every other week or whenever they're announcing them. And it's kind of weird that they didn't go the same strategy here with this game, but it could be because there isn't as much new content by comparison anyways. So it's in a weird situation. I'm sure they do need to start talking about it pretty soon to get people on board to playing this game, myself included, you know. So I feel like in this Direct, this is something you'll definitely want to talk about, and yeah. So that is all the announced releases, I believe, for 2017, in exception to obviously indie titles, which they already previously did in the Nindies Direct, or the Nindies presentation, excuse me. So I don't actually expect much Nindy news, or if any, in this upcoming Nintendo Direct, just because, you know, they just had that Nindy presentation where they announced everything coming out the rest of this year and early next year. Unless there's a secret surprise they wanted to keep for this Direct in the indie scene, I don't expect really much besides... Well, I don't expect anything, actually, no indie stuff, to be honest. Circling back to Mario, I think maybe if what I can predict them showing off besides what I previously mentioned is, what if they actually show off Luigi? I know a lot of people are craving to hear about whether Luigi's in the game or whatever, and there's tons of Luigi's fans out there saying, where's Luigi in this game? So potentially that is something, that could be the big reveal that they could be showing off for this trailer, you know? It could be one of many things. It could be something a lot more simple, where what I was initially thinking, where maybe they'll show off a new boss battle, maybe a new world, or even 2 new worlds, and gameplay there and stuff like that. And that'll be plenty enough to get me hype, you know. But I know a lot of fans, if they saw Luigi, like at the end of it, he just kind of looks at the camera, he's like, Mario! I know people would just go nuts. They would go nuts! I think it'd be a lot of fun. But I don't know if I entirely expect it to happen, but it could be something they could do. What else do they got coming up? I guess as far as new announcements, they could... let's think. Monster Hunter Cross is a weird situation, because it looks like the western side of Capcom is pushing Monster Hunter World, and that's going to be the next Monster Hunter game for people to get. And I know a lot of people here in the West want Cross to come across to the West. Right now, it's going to be available in Japan relatively soon, if it's not already. And we still don't even have the 3DS version of that game. So a lot of people are predicting, thinking it'd be a dual release, releasing the 3DS and the Switch version at the same time in the West, which would be super awesome. I'd be all on board for that. But I'm not entirely sure if it's going to happen, because it looks like they're really wanting to promote Monster Hunter World as the next title in the Monster Hunter, obviously it's the next title in the Monster Hunter series, but consider how long it's going to take to translate and get that game over here. More than likely, Cross, if it did come west, it's going to come out probably next year, spring. That's probably what I'd bet, maybe, give or take. And that's when World releases, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's supposed to come spring 2018 as well. So they don't want to directly compete with themselves by releasing 2 games in the same series, in the same territory. Because I believe World, anyways, is aiming for a global release. I could be mistaken. Now, I know World isn't Nintendo, but it seems to be Capcom's focus right now for the West. So it looks like Cross, in my opinion anyways, might not be coming this way, which isn't unprecedented. It's happened before. There are plenty of other Monster Hunter games that have actually never reached the West. So this might just be one of them. And besides, it really is just a sequel to Generations. It's nearly the same game, just with some added more monsters and stuff like that. So in truth, we're not really missing out on a ton, to be truly honest. But again, the fact of having it on the Switch is such a cool idea, you know, that almost makes me really want it, you know, but at the same time, it makes sense why they're going with the World Avenue. And I'm so jealous that thing is not on Switch, man. Because if it was on Switch, I'm still all over it. But if it was on Switch, oh man, you don't even know. Oh, another game I totally failed to mention that's supposedly coming out this year is Skyrim. There was a gameplay, or it was playable at PAX, I believe, by appointment. So it's still, I believe, coming out this year. I don't know if they've actually set any release date. So that's something I could talk about again here in the Direct and just say, hey, Skyrim coming out. I don't know. I'm feeling November. But maybe the week of Black Friday, but I feel like it might be too busy then. You know, it doesn't need to be launching alongside all those other games that are going out that week, you know. So I think it'd make more sense probably the first few weeks of November. I was gonna say October, but I forgot how stacked October was, you know. So maybe like this first or second week of November, you know. That would make actually a lot of sense to get it out early before all the rest of the holiday madness. So that if you want to pick it up for holiday, you can, you know. It's just out a little bit a ways away from the madness, you know. And I know a lot of people are looking forward to it too, and myself included. I can't wait to play Skyrim on the go. Sign me up, baby. As far as other games, I believe Madden, NBA, FIFA, I think, I don't know, the sport games, WWE maybe, I can't remember which ones are which ones are coming to Switch, I'll be truly honest. So, at least a handful of what I just mentioned are coming to Switch, supposedly I think this year, I believe, I could be mistaken, I don't really know, but that's stuff we could definitely see at this Direct, and potentially release dates for those games as well, because I know there's an audience. Oh my gosh, Rocket League as well, Rocket League's supposed to come out this year, and that could be, again, another November title, potentially. So, I think, now I'm thinking about it, November's actually kind of a stacked month, outside of first-party releases, anyways. If you're going off of Skyrim, the sports games, Rocket League, more likely, that could all fit in November, and that could be, boom, that could be all your Switch content that whole month. I'm still kind of hoping there's something, but it's kind of gotten to the point where they can't, I don't know, it'd be weird if they made a new announcement right now for a game for November. Or maybe I could have been wrong all along, and Xenoblade 2 could be their November Christmas title for the Switch. While there's Pokemon on the 3DS, and then Xenoblade 2 over there. I mean, then again, like I previously said, I don't feel like there's a necessity for a December title, so then maybe there won't be one. I'm still under the impression I think Xenoblade 2 is definitely going to be a December title. They're going to be pushing it to the end of this year, if it is coming out, in fact, this year. But as far as that, what else could they talk about? Surprise announcements. There might be some. Maybe something for 3DS to continue it through next year potentially. Because I feel like until the year anniversary of the Switch, I feel like they'll still probably support the 3DS for a little bit. Just because it's a giant market there. There's no point in not, you know. I'm on board with everyone else saying, hey, Nintendo, 3DS was great, but just imagine all your teams working on the one console, getting monthly releases for the entire life cycle of the console. Because obviously this past year they've been prepping for this first year. For many years they've been prepping for this year to release a ton of games this year. I mean, look at the last few years of the Wii U and how thin in releases it was. And I think it's because all the other teams were working on Switch stuff and getting ready for an awesome first year launch. Which I think was very successful. They did an awesome job. Boy, being a Wii U owner sucked those last 2 years though. I will say that for sure. Power Tennis, Color Splash, ugh. So I think that's about all I wanted to talk about. Definitely let me know in the comments, what do you guys think they're going to announce at this Nintendo Direct? I really don't think it's time for Smash or time for Animal Crossing just yet. I don't think it's time yet. So I'm not going to go into expectations for either game. If anything, I mean, at the Nintendo Worlds, they could maybe show off a trailer for Smash, and that would just explode the internet. And that's going to be, I believe, the first weekend of October. I know they've announced games at the Nintendo Worlds previously. Obviously, they're a lot smaller titles. I believe even the Smash Brothers tournament, whatever happened during it or around it as well. So maybe tying that in, they could maybe announce a Smash Switch. I know it's coming. I can say I know both those games, Animal Crossing and the Smash Switch, are an inevitability. It's a matter of when, not if. And I don't think when is now to announce it. I don't feel like we're ready just yet. I feel like they want to concentrate on Mario Odyssey and the Switch titles coming up in the next few months to get people ready and hyped for that. And then when we have our fall end-of-year Direct, whenever that actually happens, potentially maybe in November, something like that, then that's when they'll start talking about the 2018 titles and getting people a reason to buy a Switch this holiday in case they're not ready to buy whatever games came out this year, which why wouldn't they do? There's a ton of games. But to get them prepped for the next year, to see what they're buying into for this holiday, like, hey, you can buy all these games now. You can buy Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, ARMS, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8, Pokken, Fire Emblem Warriors, you know, all these great titles. But then this is what's coming up next. We got Smash, we got Animal Crossing, we got Metroid Prime 4, which, I mean, that might be 2022 at this point. Who knows? So anyways, those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? Give this video a big, awesome like, and if you haven't already, definitely subscribe for tons more on Nintendo Switch, this Direct, and all fun stuff like that. I'll definitely record, if I can, a reaction to the Direct, especially if there is a really exciting trailer that I totally pop off about. And as well, as always, I'll do my impressions reaction, where I just talk about all that they announce, and just my overall thoughts on everything there. If, like I said, if there is a really dang good trailer that's worth even an analysis or something like that, or even just going over and looking a little bit closer at the trailer itself, I might do something similar. I don't know. I'm excited though. I'm excited for some new, fresh Nintendo news. A big, huge trailer announcement. That's what I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks you guys again so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!